Ridge stood near the staircase, gaping at a framed snap of his parents, taken decades before. His fritters brushed the edge of the frame as recollections surged through him, recollections of growing up in this house, of watching his father make a fashion conglomerate from nothing, of witnessing his parents' triumphs and dolor. Forrester Creations wasn't just a company. It was the twinkle of their family. And losing Eric to Katie's influence had felt like losing a part of himself. Across city, Eric sat alone in his apartment, gaping out over the megacity skyline. The hum of Los Angeles business drifted through the cracked window, but his studies were far down. In front of him lay old sketches, yellowed photos and fabric tapes from decades past. These were the vestiges of a life devoted to creativity, artificer and family. Yet recently he'd felt like a foreigner in his own world. Working under Katie had been humbling, but also humiliating. While he admired her intelligence and business wit, the dynamic had sluggishly minced down at his sense of purpose. Every meeting reminded him that he was no longer the primogenitor, no longer the visionary leader. He'd come in hand, taking orders rather of giving them. For a man who erected an conglomerate, it was a bitter lozenge to swallow. His phone buzzed on the table beside him. Ridge's name lit up the screen. Eric dithered before answering. "Ridge," he said still. "Dad," Ridge replied, his voice steady but thick with emotion. "I'm coming by. I suppose it's time." Eric closed his eyes. He'd known this moment would come. "All right, son." When Ridge arrived, the pressure was palpable. They sat across from each other, a small table between them, cluttered with remnants of Eric's former glory. For a long moment neither spoke. The silence held decades of undetermined conflict, implied fears and deep confirmed love. "Dad," Ridge began, breaking the stillness, "you tutored me everything. Not just about fashion, but about integrity, pride, and standing up for what matters. Watching you walk down from Forrester Creations, it broke commodity inside me." Eric's jaw tensed. "You suppose I wanted to leave? I felt pushed out, Ridge. Like my time was over." "That was no way true," Ridge said forcefully. "Your heritage isn't commodity that can be replaced. Forrester Creations exists because of you. It carries your name, your vision, your blood. That company is our family history sutured into every design." Eric leaned back, gaping at the ceiling. "When I walked into those services and saw someone differently sitting at my office, I felt unnoticeable. Working under Katie was delicate. She's able, but I couldn't escape the feeling that I had come inapplicable." Ridge stood, pacing the room. "You're not inapplicable. You're irreplaceable. Everything I am, everything this company is, it comes from you. Forrester Creations isn't complete without its author." Eric turned toward him. "You really believe that?" "I know it," Ridge replied, his voice unwavering. "And so does everyone differently. The workers, the contrivers, the guests, they still look to you as the heart of this company." Emotion flitted across Eric's face. Memories surged: long nights sketching designs, early morning fittings, the first fashion show, the exhilaration of seeing his creations on runways across the world. Those moments had defined him. "I erected that company with your mama," Eric rumored. "We poured our souls into it. And it's still yours," Ridge said. "Come back. Come home." Eric swallowed hard, the weight of the decision pressing heavily upon him. "I don't know if I still fit in that world." "You belong there," Ridge said gently. "It's your world." Gashes glistered in Eric's eyes. "You always had your mama's passion and my intransigence." Ridge smiled noiselessly. "And I got both because of you." The room fell silent again. But this time the silence felt different, lighter, hopeful. After a long moment Eric jounced. "All right. I'll come back. I'll return to Forrester Creations." Ridge exhaled sprucely, emotion submerging his casket. He stepped forward and embraced his father, holding him tightly. "Thank you, Dad." When Eric walked back into the halls of Forrester Creations, the atmosphere shifted incontinently. Contrivers broke amid sketch, sidekicks stopped codifying, and directors rose from their divisions. A ripple of excitement spread through the structure as whispers traveled from bottom to bottom. "Eric's back. He's really back." Eric stood altitudinous, taking in the familiar surroundings, the towering mannequins, the tapes of luxurious fabric, the hum of creativity that defined the space. It felt like stepping back into a part of himself he'd lost. Steffi rushed forward first, her eyes shining. "Granddad!" He wrapped his arms around her. "It's good to be home." Ridge watched from before, pride swelling in his casket. He knew this moment would heal injuries that ran deep through their family. In the boardroom, Eric addressed the platoon. His voice carried authority, warmth, and conviction. Forrester Creations was erected on family, passion, and invention. "I left for a time, but I no way stopped believing in this company. I'm then to support Ridge and the coming generation. Together, we will recognize our heritage and produce commodity indeed lesser." Applause erupted, echoing through the room. Latterly that evening, the family gathered at the Forrester manse for a celebratory regale. Candles flitted across the table, illuminating faces filled with relief and happiness. Horselaugh replaced pressure, and old stories were participated late into the night. Eric raised his glass. To family, to remission, and to coming home. Spectacles tinkled, and a sense of consanity settled over the table. Yet beneath the festivity, challenges still impended. The fashion world was ruthless, challengers grim, and internal conflicts ineluctable. But with Eric back at Forrester Creations, the foundation felt stronger than ever. In the days that followed, Eric dove back into work with renewed passion. He sketched designs late into the night, banded with youthful contrivers, and guided a rising gift. His presence revitalized the company, investing it with creativity and confidence. Ridge too felt converted. Watching his father reclaim his part reminded him why he'd fought so hard. It wasn't about control or power, it was about conserving their family's heart. But peace in their world was no way endless. Rumors of commercial sabotage began circulating. A rival fashion house was preparing to launch a collection eerily analogous to Forrester's forthcoming line. Reservations grew, alliances were tested, and old battles resurfaced. Eric and Ridge set up themselves formally again, standing side by side, united against external pitfalls. Their bond, strengthened by difficulty, became the company's topmost asset. Late one night, as they reviewed sketches in Eric's office, Ridge looked up. "You know, Dad, having you back reminds me why I love this assiduity." Eric smiled. "Because it's about further than clothes. It's about identity." Exactly. As dawn broke over Los Angeles, the Forrester conglomerate stood poised at the edge of a new chapter, one forged by heritage, strengthened by conciliation, and driven by unwavering family fidelity. And at the heart of it all stood Eric Forrester, eventually home where he belonged. Though Eric's return brought festivity and renewed stopgap, and turnabout of pressure palpitated through the halls of Forrester Creations. Beneath the grins and warm embraces lay undetermined conflicts, implied resentments, and stewing battles staying to erupt. In this world, peace was always fragile. A thin robe stretched over unpredictable feelings. Katie, standing alone in her office, goggled out through the glass walls overlooking the bustling design bottom. Her jaw was tight, her fritters coiled around the edge of her office. She had known this moment would come. Ridge had no way stopped fighting for his father's return, and Eric had no way truly belonged anywhere differently. Still, the sting of rejection cut deeply. She had given Eric a place to work, to feel valued again. She had supported his creativity, admired his opinions, and offered him a part that saved his quality. Yet in the end, he chose his birth over cooperation. The consummation left her feeling discarded. Brooke entered still. Katie didn't turn. "So, it's functionary. He's back." Brooke jounced. "Yes." Silence stretched between them. Times of participated pain, contest, and complicated love counted heavily in the air. "I knew this day would come," Katie rumored. "I just didn't suppose it would hurt this important." Brooke dithered before speaking. "Eric belongs at Forrester Creations. But that doesn't dwindle what you gave him." Katie turned also, her eyes shining with subdued emotion. "Doesn't it? Because right now it feels like I was just a stepping gravestone." Across the structure, Ridge stood in his office, gaping at the megacity skyline. Relief still coursed through him, but it was accompanied by anxiety. His father's return meant stability, but it also reignited old power dynamics. Eric was a visionary, a leader, and occasionally a force that could overshadow everyone differently. Steffi knocked vocally and entered. Dad. Ridge turned, offering a tired smile. Hey. You did the right thing, she said. Bringing Grandpa back. I hope so, Ridge replied. But I can't ignore the ripple goods. Katie's hurt. And when feelings run grandly, effects can helical. Steffi crossed her arms. This family thrives on chaos. Ridge chortled noiselessly. Unfortunately, yes. As Eric settled back into his old office, recollections swamped him. The scent of fabric, the texture of sketches beneath his fingertips, the familiar hum of creative energy. Everything felt like home. Yet guilt dragged at his heart. That autumn, he requested a meeting with Katie. She arrived composed but guarded. You wanted to see me? Yes, Eric said gently. Please sit. Katie remained standing. Let's not pretend this isn't awkward. Eric jounced. You're right. I owe you honesty and gratefulness. You gave me a place when I felt lost. You believed in me when I misdoubted myself. Also, why leave? She asked still. Because Forrester Creations isn't just a job, he replied. It's my life's work. It's my family's story. No matter where I go, that verity follows me. Katie exhaled sluggishly. I understand that. But understanding doesn't abolish disappointment. I know, Eric said vocally. And I'm sorry for the pain I caused. Her eyes softened slightly. I hope you do'n't lament this. I wa'n't, Eric said. But I'll always admire you. Though the meeting ended civilly, emotional fractures remained. Meanwhile, unknown forces were formally moving against Forrester Creations. In a satiny ultramodern office across city, a shadowy figure studied digital definitions of Forrester's forthcoming collection. The designs were unmistakable exact clones, down to the lowest stitching detail. A slow, satisfied smile twisted across his lips. They've no idea what's coming, he muttered. Within days, rumors exploded across the fashion assiduity. Blurted images surfaced online, revealing nearly identical designs under another fashion marker's name. The reproach hovered everything. Fear gurgled through Forrester Creations. Boardroom meetings grew hot. Allegations flew. Paranoia rotted. Someone inside this company betrayed us, Steffi said forcefully. Ridge slammed his fist against the table. We need to find out who. Eric remained silent, his expression grave. This isn't just theft, he said eventually. It's a protestation of war. The disquisition uncovered disturbing suggestions. Digital access logs, security breaches, altered lines. Each discovery strengthened the riddle. Dubitation fell on several workers. Pressures burned. Longtime Gemütlichkeit fractured under the strain. Meanwhile, particular dramatizations continued to unfold. Brooke and Ridge set up themselves formally again, drifting into uncertain emotional home. Old passions resurfaced, complicated by once backstabbings and undetermined heartache. One evening they stood alone in the design plant, moonlight filtering through the windows. Occasionally, Brooke said still, I wonder if our story is fated to repeat itself. Ridge studied her. Perhaps we keep circling back because we no way truly let go. She met his aspect, emotion shimmering in her eyes. And perhaps that's our curse. They stood elevation piecemeal, recollections pulling them closer, yet fear holding them back. Away, Steffi faced her own emotional crossroads. Balancing leadership, fatherhood, and particular cravings stretched her to the breaking point. Each decision carried heavy consequences, and every step forward felt uncertain. As days turned into weeks, the disquisition uncovered a ruinous verity. The treason came from someone deeply bedded within the Forrester inner circle. A trusted supporter, driven by resentment and ambition. The disclosure shattered connections and forced Eric to defy a painful reality. This is my fault, he said one night to Ridge. I should have seen it coming. Ridge shook his head. We're all responsible. But we'll fix it together. The preceding battle was explosive. Allegations erupted, secrets were exposed, and alliances were irreparably broken. Gashes flowed freely as trust collapsed under the weight of treason. Yet, from the ashes of desolation, adaptability surfaced. Eric rallied the platoon, inspiring them with renewed purpose. Contrivers worked around the timepiece, creating an entirely new collection, bold, enterprising, and unlike anything they had produced ahead. This, Eric declared, holding up a final sketch, will review us. And review them it did. The runway show was a triumph. Critics hailed the collection as revolutionary. Buyers climbed to place orders. Forrester Creations surfaced stronger, more united, and more determined than ever. But palms in this world were always transitory. As the applause faded, new secrets impended. Retired connections hovered exposure, and undetermined solicitations coddled just beneath the face. Because in the macrocosm of passion, power, and heritage, the drama no way truly ends.